except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn, because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn, because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
How you doing? This is I'm U-Turn LaVern. This is one street over. I'm in here giggling with my friend Bill Jones. I just love this guy to pieces. I messaged him. I told you, I was telling him yesterday on the radio. I said, Bill's going to be on tomorrow. I haven't asked him yet, but
I heard it. I saw that.
You did good. And then I got busy at school, and I kept forgetting to message you. And I thought, man, I got to make sure, because sometimes you have things, because there's like Good Morning Robertson County or something where they do the thing at the chamber, and there's all kinds of things. People are always calling you to do stuff. So there's been times that I call Bill and he can't come in. So I thought, I hope you can, because with this weather coming in, everybody wants to hear what you have to say.
Everybody wants to know.
But what we were giggling about, and what kind of took me a minute to get the mics open. So the last time he was in, I guess it was the last time, my car.
Yeah, when I wasn't in, you called me because I live next door.
That's right. It was, and you weren't on the air with me. Yeah. But I had come in and done the radio show, and somehow I had inadvertently left a light on in my car and went out, and the battery wouldn't start. Well, I was just trying to, because Mark, I can't call him anymore because he's a school teacher, and I was calling different ones I thought could be handy just to give me a jump, because Ilyu was not even in, he was like 30, 40 minutes away. He wasn't anywhere. So nobody was, nearby. And I thought, I hate to call Bill, but he's always over the hill and always says, just call him. So I did. He's like, well, I'm finishing my breakfast. I will be there if you don't get a hold of somebody else. And sure enough, he comes over. And I even walked down the road. There's a house under construction down here.
Yeah.
And I thought, if there's somebody down there working, they'll come give me a jump. Well, they weren't there. So I got my walk in that morning, but you came out and you were on your way. So I thought I was going to be smart, and I hooked up the jumper cables. I hooked them up wrong. And guys, I know better than that. I'm a farm girl. And it's one of those things, and I could have sworn I double checked. I hooked them up wrong. And you came in and we hooked up, and I'm telling you, it's a wonder we didn't blow up. It's a wonder I didn't ruin my car. But I ended up having to go and get, some cables replaced, because I did end up frying a cable. And you loaned me your truck. You just are so good to me. And so I come in today, and there's this Christmas gift sitting on the cabinet here. And I was like, well, what in the world is this? And Bill's like, oh, I got you that. I didn't get it to you for Christmas, and I want y'all to see what this thing is. It's a fully automatic battery charger. I just think this is hysterical.
Charge your phone also.
So how does this work?
Well, you charge up, you plug it in, you just got a little charger with it, and you leave it on, get it charged up, put it in your car. If you have that same situation again, you just take those, they got 2 battery connectors on there, see the little alligator clips, plug it into that thing, and it'll give you enough juice to start your car.
I love you.
And
this is
your
so
phone,
sweet.
you can charge your phone up on it too.
That is so cool. I swear. Thank you so much. I think that's one of the best Christmas gifts anybody's ever given me. That is
when
awesome.
You need something, that's the best.
Yes, that is awesome. Thank you so much. You and your bride, y'all just took such good care of me the other day, and I just thank you so much. And he was also asking me about my shoulder. I know I don't have my sling on when I'm in here. I have a sling. I'm wearing my sling. If you see me out in public, I have to wear that thing for 6 weeks. But when you're sitting still, they tell me you can have it off as long as you're not doing something stupid. you know. And so
You never do anything like that.
no. But I have, well, and I went and saw my grandkids last night because I told them, I said, I cannot be coming out here in the snow because I'm going to want to play with them, and I cannot be out in this stuff with this new shoulder.
Right.
Because if I fall, it will not be good, and it's slick. And so I love the snow. I love getting out in it and messing with it, but And I'm supposed to go to Kentucky tonight for a basketball reunion.
You're coming home tonight, though,
yes,
right? Good.
Yes. If I end up
tomorrow,
going
to be something else.
Well, because I want to do the radio show tomorrow. Regardless of what happens, I want to be in here. And so we have our team in high school. We went to state. And we were just a little, we weren't a consolidated, we were a small country school and went to state. And that was just, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And so us and one other team in the county that went to state. So the girls basketball coach at Graves County High School wants to have some of the old folks come in.
Old, he called you.
You know how they do that,
Yeah.
you know. And honestly, I was barely on the team because I was one of the youngest and I didn't get to play. So I'm kind of like, but I just want to see my friends. You know, I've got one of the ball players, Dina Hart. Love you, sister. And I just love her. She's just a dear, dear friend. And so I would love to see her for sure. And you just don't get a chance to see people, you know. But I'm gonna try. I told him, I said, I'll do my best, but it's school day today.
Some people will not go to reunions. They just, around here, some people in my class, and they just will not attend a reunion. I don't know.
You know,
a lot of different thoughts on that. You know,
and it's a shame because I know we all have our things. It's like, well, this and that, and it's like we're grown up, we're older. Just forget all the.
I think it's so many long-term memories from school when they were hurt. And somebody said something,
you gotta get over it. You got to get over it. And I talk a lot about that in ministry. Bitterness is a poison pill, and I lived with it for a while too. And so, but you've got to get over that stuff. But I may be going to Mayfield tonight, or just outside of Mayfield is where the high school is, and so that's always hard for me to drive through Mayfield right now. I mean, it's just still, it's weird, you know, because there's just nothing. There's really nothing been put back. So it's just, it's
really hadn't anything been put back.
I mean, some things, yeah, but
I thought about it last night.
Fort Square looks like when we had, my mother died last year. Her funeral was on New Year's Day, so it's just a year ago. And my daughter-in-law said it. She goes, it was like something from a zombie apocalypse when they drove through the Mayfield Square.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow. I mean, it looks that way still, and I mean. Until not long, I don't know if they fixed that traffic light or not, but I'm kind of thinking whenever we were up there for Mama's funeral, there was still a crooked traffic light, and we don't know. I don't get it.
Did you see the fires in Los Angeles last
incredible.
night?
I've got
it reminded me of Mayfield. You know, I thought about that.
Well, and
it's just devastating.
It's just gone. Yeah, it's just gone. I've got some friends out there, some old radio.
I'd move out of California. Yeah, I would.
But I've got some old radio friends that are out there,
and they are moving.
And Carlos and all you guys, and Dan and David and. We've got Carlos Clemente, David Benzing, and Dan McGrath. They're all in that area, and I worked with them for years at WLAC. And so we're all just going, oh, okay. You know, we never see them anymore, but man, we were like family for so long. Yeah. And
are they okay?
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. But I mean, where David works, he's still in radio out there, and where he works is threatened. So and Dan McGrath, he was putting stuff up all night. Just, oh my gosh. And I haven't really heard from Dan as he's okay. I know Carlos is okay, but I haven't heard from many of them. Carlos is somebody, I got to get him on the air. He does a podcast, and I've been promising I'd have him on the air, and it's just been so busy with the holidays. I'll call you, Carlos. We'll get you doing something here soon. But we've got Bill in here. I don't know. Brian may come bebopping in here at the bottom of the hour. So we want to talk about the weather. What say you? What should we expect?
The biggest thing I see problem right now is that whether the forecasts in the past have not been accurate, so people don't believe it.
Yeah.
And I say, that's just a baloney. You're not going to have any snow. Yeah. And we are. This is pretty confident. They call it confidence. You know, the degree of confidence. It's pretty confident. There'll be 4 to 6 inches, but a lot of meteorologists are saying 6.
Okay.
You know, so they're, with that, we're going to get something.
Yeah.
It won't be as bad as sometimes we've had in the past, but
but we're going to get something.
Oh yeah.
See, that's what I'm seeing
Starting
too.
early in the morning.
And I talked to them. We were at Celebrate Recovery last night, and I did the open and the greeting and all that kind of stuff. And most everybody there knows of my past as a traffic reporter. And I told them, I said, because we've got homeless people that come to our CR. And I told them, take this seriously. Please find shelter. And I said, because the traffic reporter in me, if I was looking at this and sitting behind the mic as a traffic reporter, I'd be telling you to stay home Friday.
Right.
I mean, that's what we'd be doing, because I can remember so many times where people be like, well, it's not snowing. They'll get up and then they'll go on into work, and then it comes in, they get stranded. We had an ice storm one time. People were walking away from their cars. I mean, I bet there was 100 cars. Paul Rainey might be able to speak to this. He was, I'm sure he was on the fire department, working with the fire department at that time. And he's on right now. But there were cars just abandoned all up and down Briley Park. Briley Parkway was probably the worst area.
Yeah.
They just left their cars, and it was the biggest mess. And then
See what they did in California, took a bulldozer and just pushed them
out
to
of
the
the
side.
way. Yeah.
Teslas and
Oh my
BMWs
gosh.
and everything, just like a junkyard.
So, I mean, those are the kinds of things that you got to keep in mind, guys, that, it is going to be a mess. And if you do not have to be on the roads Friday, yes, I'm going to come in here. I live 2 miles from here. So I'm going to get in my 4-wheel drive and come up here, and we're going to talk to you about what, things are. If you want to come in, come on in tomorrow. Because
If you want me to, I can.
Jack Martin usually comes in on the second Friday, but I can guarantee you he won't be in tomorrow. Because, I mean, his son is with the fire department, David, and he may be on duty and all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to call Jack and say, don't even plan on it, because he doesn't need to be out on the road in this stuff either. But you and I live nearby. So me and Mark will come in here and do the show tomorrow morning.
7 or 7:30?
7. Let's just plan on 7 to 8 tomorrow. And if for some reason I
bring
can't get out,
snowshoes.
there you go. If I can't get out, I'll call you. But we'll do a special weather version of One Street Over tomorrow. So just be sure and tune in for that. But you had said, I guess the thing is, what do you think about this? I've had all my kids at school are like, do you think we'll be out next week, Miss Vivio? And I said, I really don't have a clue. I said, I think we absolutely will be out Friday. I said, I think they'll call it, on Thursday night. I said, just because of my past with traffic, I said, I just can't see them even thinking about having school on Friday. But, and I know my principal, I'm sorry, Dr. Osborne, it's just the truth. That's the reporter in me. It's just, she's just trying to keep the kids focused.
Well, don't confuse them, because it's not official. What you're saying.
No. I'm saying that's just true. That's true. Let's double back on that. I'm guessing. I have nothing to do with it. I'm telling you this from my history of doing traffic for so many years and being in media for so many years, of what I've seen as an example. I believe that's what will happen. You probably think the same thing. You think they'll start calling stuff off tonight?
My own opinion is
I think
they will. Monday, also, maybe Tuesday.
Well, see,
that's just me thinking, not them.
That's what the kids and I were talking about yesterday. And they said, so you think we'll be off next week? I said, it strictly depends on how much we get, because we're looking, if I'm wrong, if you tell me if I'm wrong, but like touching about 40 on Sunday with some sunshine that could do some melting.
Sunday afternoon, yeah.
Yeah. So if we end up getting if we don't end up getting but a couple of inches, that could do some melting. But those back roads, man, they need more.
That's right. And a lot of times we see the main roads and they look great, and the back roads are not.
Yeah. So anyway.
With 5 or 6 inches of snow, though, it's going to take some melting time.
Yeah, if we get that much.
If we get it.
Yeah, if we get that much. So is the last tracking that you've done, what do you think? Do you think we're going to get some decent accumulation?
I would guess 5.
Okay, really? Okay.
Some are saying 6, some are saying 4.
Because the early stuff I saw, the south of Nashville is really going to get more.
Isn't that strange? That's unusual.
It really is.
Everything has been unusual in weather lately, and it's hard to predict.
Yeah.
And so there's been some criticism because of that. But these last storms are very complicated. Mm-hmm. They come in from the southwest, from the northwest, and just, combining. I think of when you stand at a pond, you throw a rock in the pond, you see the little ripples going out, and you can tell where they're going. But if you throw a rock after rock after rock, ripples are going all kinds of directions.
Right.
And that's the way weather prediction, and they use computers now, which they used to not use. And when the computers get confused of what's going to happen, there's a complicated storm, So it's just we'll wait and see.
Wait and see. So what?
I'd get your sleds out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so what is the estimated time frame? When do you think we'll
About
see
6 in the
here?
morning it'll
So
start.
it'll be before school.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So
And it'll probably end sometime Friday night.
okay.
I don't think it'll go till dawn Saturday morning, but it'll probably go through the darkness of the night.
Okay.
And then Saturday's fun. Then after that, if it melts in and then freezes back at night, then it's worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Some of them may not have church Sunday. I don't know.
We had that conversation last night at Celebrate Recovery because we had church called off at Madison Sunday morning this past week because our services is at 9:00.
Yeah.
So what we got was only here for a few hours,
Yeah.
but it was at the exact time we should be coming into church. And we just can't chance it. I mean, our parking lots would have been like glass for a few minutes. And I mean,
our church goes by the schools. If the schools are out, we don't go. But
Okay.
the school's out on Friday and it's warmed up, then Sunday, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
hard to say, just go.
yeah, just see.
I just go and see and-
just see what happens. But we had the conversation. There was something with the women's ministry that they had set up in the main fellowship hall,
Yeah.
and they just left it set up. So we had to move our Celebrate Recovery to another room to accommodate that because they didn't want to take it down. And I told them, I said, you're not going to do this Sunday either, because they're hoping to do it this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it ain't gonna happen. I don't think. But again, this is just he and I talking. We're just kind of sharing our thoughts. And he has been. How long have you been doing weather, Bill?
Well, I was in the 60s
Okay.
in the Air Force.
Okay.
And it's changed so much that I don't know any more than anybody else. It's just
Well, you're pretty good.
it's way beyond me now.
Well, and I didn't get a chance.
We didn't
to
have
read
computers then.
I didn't get a chance to read your story from Smoky Barnes.
Okay.
What was that all about? Tell me a little bit about
Well,
that.
the worst, as far as I know, and I've got, let's see, 6 files here that I keep on weather in Robeson County going back to the 1800s. And as far as I can tell, there was nothing like what we had in 1951. I was 7 years old, so I remember a lot of it. And, of course, pictures that we had keep reminding me. So like I did remember, well, maybe I didn't. But anyway, it caught everybody off guard. It was a sleet, rain, snow deal, and ice formed at 4.5 inches on the streets in Springfield. 4.5, that's, pretty thick.
That's a lot.
And that's not an exaggeration.
Wow.
So what happened, it got down to 16 below.
Oh.
And what happened, people couldn't heat their house because if they were using coal came up from Nashville on a train.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when the train gets here, they can't get the mechanism to work on the coal cars to unload the coal, so they had to build a fire under the coal car of the train so the doors would open and then they would get coal. But everybody's running out of coal. And a lot of people burn wood, and then you can't get your car started to go get or truck started to go get your wood. So they had to build fires underneath the trucks and cars to get it warm enough so it'll start. And
Putting fires underneath the vehicles. Wow.
and they'd take the wood they had and build a fire. There were, of course, a lot of rural people then, and my grandmother lived out 3 miles out north of Springfield, so we were trying to go out there to check on her. By the time we fight all this stuff and get there, she's fine. She had a fireplace, and she was no problem. She's used to it, living by herself and everything. But anyway,
Wow.
the people were heating. A lot of people heated on with propane, and the propane trucks couldn't get there. They wouldn't start, or the snow was, ice and all that. They couldn't negotiate streets and roads, and some of the things you wouldn't think of, like the cow. They couldn't milk the cows, and that's if you don't milk a cow, you're in trouble.
Yes.
And they couldn't because the milker machines froze up.
Mm-hmm. Have to hand do it.
And the cows couldn't produce milk because there was no water for them to drink. It was all ice, and they couldn't get enough water to make milk. So there's a problem, and people trying to get around the ridge. Of course, back then was 2-lane, and there were always blockages on the ridge back then. Oh, I can remember even
We're
60s.
talking Highway 41 going up.
Going ridge top, going down the hill, and
Yeah.
if you get one car sideways there, it's
You're
locked
done.
up.
It's 2-lane
So
road,
they couldn't get any trucks from Nashville with propane.
Oh my goodness.
They couldn't get any supplies from Nashville because the road was blocked. The trains, they were trying to go, but they have their routines and going, so it lasted for 10 days.
That was going to be my next question. How long did this last?
10 days of that stuff. Can you imagine 4.5 inches of ice melting?
Wow.
And it was 16 below.
Wow.
You know, we don't know what 16 below is like.
That's crazy.
This morning, the low at my house was 12.2 degrees. It's up to about 15 now. But
I didn't realize it was that cold this morning. I knew I was freezing, but
well, I buy the best stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I have 2 or 3 different ways of measuring, but that's what I got. It's the most accurate one I have.
Okay.
Now, it may be different a mile down the road or your house or something, but
yeah,
everybody
valley.
starts arguments about that. I said, look, I'm saying at my house, yours is going to be different. You get different rain at your house than I get at mine.
Sure.
I have 2 rain gauges and on opposite end of the house, and they'll be different sometimes.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's interesting. You can't use the rain gauges like the little weather stations you buy and it drips, you know, falls. They're not accurate. You have to have a tube that. I'm involved in an organization called Kokoros, and you can get up and look that up. And what that is, we collect rain and snow values every day at 7 o'clock, report it in to a thing in Colorado, I think, but you can get on there and see everybody's amount. There's people all over the state doing it. It's a volunteer thing, you know.
Sure.
And I've been doing it for 16 years.
Yeah.
With them, I'm probably the oldest they got there. But anyway, everybody does it, and you can look on the map of Robinson County. We got about 15, 20 people in Robinson County doing it, and they all be a little different. Sometimes they're all the same, but sometimes they're different. And people will get sort of argumentative to me, and I'll say, well, we had 4 inches of rain. No, I wouldn't say that. 2 inches of rain. And then somebody across town, well, I had 2.5. But the thing is, I measure mine every day at 7 o'clock. You know, every day. It's not day and a half. It's not 2 days. It's 7 o'clock every day. And they have a multi-day report. If you miss one, you can put it into the second day. But anyway, it's fun because you have to have an official rain gauge, which is a big tube with a little tube inside, the same thing the Weather Service uses in Nashville. Okay. That's the most accurate way to catch the rain. If you have a thing, I have another one at home that the rain falls on this bulb, and it measures the rain. It's never accurate. I have another one, the rain falls in a little container, and there's a little flip thing at the bottom of it, and as water weighs it down, it flips one way, and it counts it so many ounces, flips the other way, another one. They're never right either.
Little gadgets and gizmos don't usually.
Well, they can't. They can't do it. And mine will freeze up. You know, snow falls in there and freezes, and you can't get it.
You can't do anything with it.
So
what's the best way to gauge your snowfall? How do you do it? With just a
take
ruler?
Well, yeah, that's what you do. You place a board out there, and maybe a piece of cardboard if it's thick, out away from your house, not next to the house, because it'll
drifting and stuff, it can be affected.
Place it away, and then when you want to measure, take a yardstick out there and push it down. And the problem you have is during drifts, because you'll have places in your yard that drifts mound up. You know, you don't want to do that. You want out in an area, and I have an area that's away from everything, and I go out there and measure it. Sounds sort of iffy, you know, doing it like that. That's the way you do it. Okay. And then your rain gauge, it's going to accumulate in there. The snow is, but the thing is, it's frozen, and you have to take it in the house and melt it to see how much you got in ounces of water, you know, inches of water. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, you ought to join Kokoros. And also, you know, the Weather Service in Nashville is a government-run organization. If they have, like today is a holiday, you know, it's a President Carter died, so it's a federal holiday. If it's a federal holiday, they're going to be closed. But they're supposed to be closed. But there'll be somebody there, especially in times like this. They probably all came in, probably. But they have shifts of workers all night, day long to keep up with this stuff. And you can call them. I have an 800 number. All you do is look on the internet. In fact, I think I've got, let me see if, I think I have it on my phone. It's an 800 number, and there's a regular number. And they'll be glad to talk to you and ask them about anything. See if
this is for the which specific one?
It's in Nashville, Weather Service.
Okay.
Nashville Weather Service. Okay, their number, regular number, is 615-754-8500. Now, they have different numbers.
Do it twice. Do
Okay.
that twice.
It's 615, of course, our area code is there, 754-8500.
Okay.
And they are, more than happy to talk to you. And they have weather briefings, which I attend to. Well, there'll be one today. They have it on Monday and Thursday, and they have a Zoom meeting, which I attend. And the Weather Service people get on there, and as people, you can see them sign on. There's school systems and ham radio operators, a lot of different kind of people, and they sign on, and it's live, and a weather forecaster comes on, and he gives what they believe is going to happen, and then you can ask them questions.
Okay.
And they're there as long as you want to be, and you can talk to them, ask questions. Everybody's asking questions, and then it's off. But that happens twice a week, Mondays at 1 o'clock and Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
If nothing's going on, they won't meet, but they'll have slides put up for forecasters.
So they'll definitely be meeting today.
Oh, yeah.
With all this.
Well, I don't know if it's a federal holiday. They may not, but
yeah.
I would say they would because of the seriousness of this thing coming out. They put out which I have a weather radio, and it'll come on with a warning in the middle of the night to come out with a winter storm warning. It just wakes you up.
Oh, yeah.
So. And I didn't even hear it this morning. My wife did, and she said, "Why do they do that?" I said, "I don't know. It's an automated thing. But
and again, all this, guys, we're just saying that you need to really take a hard look at this tomorrow because there's Brian. Come on in here, Brian. You can join us. But you've got to take a hard look at this because one of all the stories that I could sit here and tell you about, and I could tell you, and I'm sure Bill could tell you. Brian, come on in, buddy. Come on in. But I could tell you all kinds of stories, but one of the ones, too, that just really sticks in my mind is we had a situation very similar to this. And we get up on the next morning, the day it's supposed to be coming in. Nothing's happening, so school's going in, and everybody got stranded. And buses were stuck, and this is when my kids were at Good Pasture, and there was a lady driving the bus for us, and she went down this one road, and it was blocked, and so she tried to take off on a side street, got stuck. We couldn't find them. I was talking to Sean Elmore yesterday, and she remembers that happening too because they couldn't find her kids. They were on the bus, and so we're just talking about the Snowmageddon coming, brother. Hang on, there we go. Let's put your microphone up. Hi, Brian.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Haven't seen you. Haven't seen you forever.
Been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I started to call you this morning, then it just kind of got away from me, and
That's okay.
I told Bill, I said, well, Brian will either be here or he won't. So.
Yeah. You know I'm reliable. So.
So there we go.
Yeah,
but are you all ready for
we were
snow?
bracing. It's funny you were talking about that. I had was telling my son on the way to school. He was at, they're excited obviously about the snow. We had a deal, same thing. It was probably about 12 years ago. Kind of unexpected snow came out. I was working in Nashville. My wife was working in Nashville. And we had a late afternoon meeting in our boardroom and had no windows in there. And so it was like we were prepping for like one of our busy deals. And so we came out for the meeting. And it was already like, I'm in Brentwood, people can't drive over there anyway, and it was already done. Like, you can look out the window, there's an intersection that runs out of my office, and if the traffic ever backs up past my window, you're in trouble. That means something really bad has happened. And there were cars as far as I could see. So it took about 4 hours to get my house. I lived like 10 miles from there. And I ended up having to dump my car.
It took you 4 hours.
Yeah, well, I ended up having to dump my car because you couldn't get up the hill, and then I walked. And so I walked as far as I could, and then there was a police officer we lived on this like really curvy kind of country road, and he was sitting in the middle of the road because it was impassable. Yeah. And so he was sitting there to not let people go because he didn't want to be dragging people out. So he ended up giving me a ride the rest of the way home. Yeah, and so it was one, and all the people I worked with at that time were from up north. Yeah. And they always like laughed at us because of all the stuff. Yeah. They all got stuck in it. Yeah. And so from there on, the policies got a little more friendly as far as like would the weather would come in and letting us stay home. They understood the situation we were dealing with. We don't have the equipment to clear the stuff.
No.
Like that's the thing. They're all from Wisconsin, so it's no big deal. They just brush it off. So
that's with Mark,
Yeah.
because Mark's
Yeah.
from north of, Wisconsin up in the UP. And so when we first married, oh my goodness, he was just like, oh, you can't drive. And then we were driving. This is when the twins were just babies. We only had 2 kids, and we had a Toyota 4Runner. And we were driving through Effingham, because we would always go through Illinois, up through Chicago, Wisconsin, then over into the Upper Peninsula. And that was our route. But we were up in Effingham, and some snow had come in, and he was driving, and there was snow, but he was just like, oh, it's fine. It was glass. It was like glass. And we turned over. I mean, it was not a violent accident, but it was just like we slid and we hit the embankment and it just rolled.
Yeah.
But the kids were like, what's going on? That was funny. Because, it was not a fast,
Oh, were they?
But, they were like a year old.
Ooh.
They were in their car seats, maybe a year and a half, because they were 3.5 when my third was. So, yeah, they were under 3. So, because it was just the 2 of them, but it was nuts. But he became very respectful of Southern ice right then.
And that's why I try
Right
to tell
then.
them, I was like, y'all get this big fluffy
Yeah,
snow
it's
that you can eat.
different.
I said, we usually get ice first,
Yeah,
and then it's got snow on top of it. And I said, and that's why I don't care how skilled you are, experienced you are, you can't drive on ice.
No.
It's going to do whatever you want with the car. And I've been in enough ditches. I don't mess with it. So yeah.
Did you see there was a video that came out on social media over the weekend? There was a guy in Clarksville, because they got a little bit of ice, and he jumped out of his car because his car started sliding.
right.
He just jumped out
Just
of his
bailed.
car. He just bailed on
yeah.
it. It was
that.
hysterical. I mean, he was okay too. I mean, I'm so thankful he didn't get hurt, because that was dangerous.
Right.
And as it went down the hill, it didn't even look like it was really in that bad of a situation. But he just didn't know. And it was kind of like when we were in that 4Runner, when you start going down and back, like it was just a steep shoulder. And so it turned us over on our side. And I think he probably saw, okay, I could turn over and get killed. So he just jumped out of it. But he was all right.
Not a bad move. I can't blame you, really.
Yeah,
if that's my choice. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But guys, as all these experiences, you don't want to get stranded in this stuff yesterday. Just stay home if you can tomorrow. And I don't have any idea what the school system is going to do. I have no idea. I have no influence on anybody, but the traffic reporter in me would be on the air telling you, if you don't have to be on the roads tomorrow, don't be. That would be my advice.
Preach.
Yeah. Were you one of them? You said you had to walk. Did you abandon your car on the side of the road?
Yeah, I had to, because
he was one of them.
well, there was no,
just teasing.
they were stacked up. Now, I didn't put it on the side of the road. There was an apartment complex at the bottom of this hill going up Old Hickory Boulevard when where it connected to Nolensville Road. So, there's a hill coming from Brentwood.
I know exactly where you're talking.
So there was an apartment complex right there. So I sat there for maybe an hour, and I watched people trying to get up it. And I had like a Pontiac Grand Am or something. Nothing that's going to go up a hill. And I would just watch these trucks and everything else, and they just shoot, and they would just slide right back down. And so I sat there for a while, and I finally I was like, well, I'm just going to pull off. And so I'm walking up the hill, and this lady pulls up beside me, sweet as she can be, like a really young, well, she's young. I say at the time, like early 20s maybe, had a baby in the back seat, in her car seat. And she said, "You need a ride?" And I'm like, "Yes, but you should not be coming and picking me up right where we're at right now." It's like, I appreciate it, but don't do that. Like, please do not that with your child in the car. You don't know me. You know you picked a good one. I'm not gonna. I'm a good guy, but like, there's a lot of not good guys out there.
Did you tell her that?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was like, no, please don't do this. I was like, I appreciate it. You're being a good Samaritan, but like, do not do that. So she got me down to the intersection, because she was going the other way, and then so I. Yeah, stopped. There was a restaurant right there, and I stopped there for a while, and I got something to eat, warmed up for a little bit, and then finished my journey home.
Trek.
So it's and I got close. I was working for the American Heart Association. We had another one very similar, like mid-morning on a Friday. I was supposed to meet with a lady up in Clarksville, and so I'm getting ready to leave, and I called her, and I said, "Hey, I'm on my way. I'll be there." I lived in Antioch at the time. I said, "I'll be there in about an hour or so." And I said, "What's the weather like up there?" Because we didn't have like text or anything like this. So I literally called her before I left my house. And she said, "Do not come." 'Cause, Clarksville always gets it a little quicker, a little, and sure enough, about 30 minutes later, it started snowing, and that was another one. I had a friend get caught in that. He said it took him. He was working downtown Nashville, I think 6 hours, to get to his house, and he just, just was sitting on the road, and people running out of gas, and I know you work traffic forever and saw that stuff, and it's always something. I don't want to do that if I don't have to. Like if there's no meeting, I can't reschedule. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saving anybody's life here, so yeah.
And so many people work from home now, but I know when this kind of stuff would come in when I was doing traffic, I was just like, ugh, because I would work all kinds of hours. Because
that's like y'all Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, they would want us on early. They would want us to stay late. All these things, and so it's not fun when you're in any kind of reporting capacity when these storms come. I think about our linemen. Oh, bless them. Is help the lines. That's one of the weather people I was listening to earlier in the week was talking about how that it's going to be. You speak to this, Bill. They say it's going to kind of be wet coming in, and it's going to be one of those things. She says shovel it as it's coming down,
right?
Because she says it's going to pack. It's going to be great for building snowman, but you don't want that on your walkways and your stairs. And she says shovel it as it's coming down because it's going to get real fluffy later in the day. But that heavy wet stuff is going to be really hard to get off your surfaces if you let it set.
What I do, I take a tarp and lay it on the steps.
Right.
It snows and does whatever it's going to do. And when it's when it's finished, just pull the tarp off. You got clean steps. Yeah. Steps are terrible when you slide on them. He mentioned about somebody picking somebody up and reminded me of a story I heard about a man that stopped and picked a hitchhiker up. And as they were going along, the hitchhiker said, you ever get concerned you might be picking up a serial killer? And the hitchhiker said, well, what's the chance of two of us at the same time being in the same vehicle?
Say that one more time. Paul Rainey was giving me a message, and I missed it. What was it?
The guy picked up a hitchhiker.
Okay.
And the hitchhiker, just to make conversation, he said, aren't you ever afraid of maybe picking up a serial killer? And the man said, well, no, what's the chance of two of us in the same car at the same time?
I missed your punchline there. Oh, that's funny. That's scary, but that's funny. It's kind of like you got to be careful whose car you get in. Paul was sending me a message talking about our guys, because Paul was on the fire department 40-something years, 41 years, I think it was, Paul. If I've got that wrong, you can correct me. His son's on the fire department. Jack Martin's kid, David, is in the fire department. And so we know all kinds of folks that are doing this. And Paul says, at the fire department, you have no choice but to go in. So they call everybody in. And that's kind of how it is in the media is I don't care what you got planned, cancel it because you need to be on this. And so sometimes we'd even do traffic on the weekends, things like that. And so I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of at this place where I'm loving the retirement that I don't have to think about that, but I can share with y'all what I would be telling you if I were still doing traffic. So did you have anything from United Way you need to cover? We're talking weather.
I know. It is kind of, it's not a slow time. It is for fundraising, we're kind of just at our very boring get the books in order time, which is not my favorite time. Just kind of make sure we collected everything for last year and get numbers in, and they'll have their audit coming up and make sure that all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted from the fundraising side. That not my favorite time. A lot of spreadsheets, things like that. So, it's necessary work to make sure that the money's being allocated and goes where it needs to go, and all the money's accounted for. So, not a lot to report on that. I did want to say you mentioned something real quick. Shout out to our folks at Cumberland Electric, who my brother was part of this. They just went up to help our neighbors up in Bowling Green who had just got hit by the ice from last weekend.
Oh, wow.
And they spent a couple of days up there helping those folks get power back and make sure that they have power before this next thing comes in. And so I think they left maybe Monday morning and they got back yesterday. So they spent a couple of days up there. It was a short one for those storm things. I know can last for a lot longer than that, but I think they were able to really help those folks. So shout out to our partners here at Cumberland Electric, who's a longtime United Way partner, both from a campaign side and from a volunteer side. They help us a lot, and then helping our neighbors out. So that's something our guys do, and that's some nasty conditions to be working out in. And so we're just thankful for those guys getting up and if you're sitting in your house and it's dark and cold, and then that power kicks back on, I know you were thankful they were up there helping with that.
That's the truth.
Yeah. So big shout out to them for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, you mentioned do you have all the people you need as far as the volunteers?
They are working on that.
You still need people to
We probably always need people. I know they had a call yesterday because Ace was in office and I was working on some stuff and I heard her. She was on her call going through the volunteer stuff. I will defer to them and we can post in the thread on this, but I think they can always probably use volunteers on this.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're interested, it is allocation time. They are going to be reviewing all the applications for our partner agencies. They will be going on some site visits and making sure that the money that we raise gets put in the right place so that it is serving our community in the most impactful way possible.
And it's a cool program.
It's very cool, and it's not a huge time commitment. I did it my first year just to go through the process. Doesn't take a rocket scientist. If you're worried, like, well, that sounds really. I was able to do it. I'm just saying. If you can read, then you can do it, and if you have a heart, you can definitely do it because it's just listening to some stories and also making sure that we're not crossing up with some of our services. We want to make sure that every dollar that we distribute is going to affect it maximum impact, so that that the money raised is going. So you don't have like three folks doing the same thing.
Right.
The same service. We want to make sure that we're spreading that out as much as we can. You will have a little bit of crossover. We try to minimize that, and we want to maximize the impact on our community. And so Ace and her team do an amazing job coordinating that. This is something that they're. This is their field of expertise, and they will guide you in the process, but we just need good folks. We want to make sure folks in the community, your community better than anybody.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that the people that live and work in this community are the ones that are making those decisions where the money goes to help folks in need.
Very good. And
Yeah.
what about the tax stuff?
Vita's coming up.
When are you taking appointments yet? Do you know?
Nah, I don't think so. I think it starts 1st of February.
Okay.
And then we'll run through April 15th or whenever the deadline is there, mid-April. So,
Right.
But I think that's coming up 1st of February. I do know the virtual option will probably be open, I think, before any in-person. There will be in-person sites. We'll get all this information out. So
This is all the free tax prep help that you can get through United Way, and it's amazing.
yeah, I'll go real quick
really
just for
good.
those who've never done it. I think unless they've changed it, last year the household level was 72,000 was the cutoff. So 72,000 and under for household income, you qualify.
You can
free
qualify.
free tax prep. These are people that are trained to do your taxes. It's an IRS certified program. It's all above board. It's free. So you're not going through some of these folks that are like taking your paycheck and giving you cash advance and all this. There's none of that stuff. They're going to maximize your refund as well. For a lot of folks, especially like single parents, things like that you have the child tax credit coming back. It's huge for them. It's a huge part of their income every year. And so we want to make sure to maximize that. If you say, man, my taxes are a mess, I'm embarrassed about this or whatever, bring all that stuff in. These people want to help you. That's what they signed up for, is for cases that are not just straightforward and may take a little bit of figuring. They want to help you out and make sure that you're getting the refund you get. I promise it is a painless process. They're not going to bite. They're friendly. They want to help you. The IRS wants us to do this because it's getting people's taxes in line. It's not a scary process, I promise you. And at the end, you're going to feel so good. You're going to have your taxes done, and you're going to get the most money you can get coming back. And so we want folks to utilize this program because then the effect it has on our community.
Yeah.
People got a little more money in their pocket. They are shopping here locally. Their tax dollars. There's a trickle effect with all of this. And so we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of it, and it's free, completely free.
That's
Everybody's
pretty
like,
cool.
what's the catch? There is no catch.
No catch.
It's literally free. Bring your taxes, bring your W-2s, your identification. It is free.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So where do you go and when does it start and how long?
Well,
8 to 5 every day. Or when can I be there?
Right.
There you go.
We have there's a virtual option for everybody. We are working on, I think they're finalizing the sites, all of the different sites. So we'll have sites throughout our 9-county footprint, and those will all be posted, and we'll blast all that out. So I think they're finalizing that because it changes every year as far as like the available sites. We've typically done it at Robertson County Board of Education. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. That is not my area. Catherine could probably tell you more, but as soon as we get everything concrete information, we'll blast it out. But it is happening, and
we're all starting to get the
W-2 start rolling in.
But I knew we had to.
It's coming up, so we'll blast that information out everywhere, and we'll be in here more to talk about it and get you all the pertinent details. But it's something just to be thinking about as you move forward. And you're like, I need to get that done right away. there's a free option out there. So when you get your W-2s, and you can go to United Way of Greater Nashville and look up the VITA program, or just search VITA, United Way of Greater Nashville on Google, and it'll pull up all the information. And they update the sites and all that good stuff on there as well.
On top of it. Let me do a break real quick. And when we come back, if you have anything else that you need to mention, let me know. But I want to talk a little bit more about we're anticipating this coming in, and we were talking about some history of weather. And I got a question for Bill. You talked about the one when you were a kid, but there was one that happened where the farm that I'm on is a dairy farm, but I don't think it was that one. I think there was one a little bit closer in, and the National Guard brought in generators to run the dairy that was on the farm we live on. Do you know anything about that? We had a guy...
That happened several times. Generators been brought in.
Let me do my break, and we'll talk about that in a second, because I just think that's fascinating. We had a guy show up on our property that was there for one of them. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. But some of this stuff, as we're anticipating the snow coming in and what could happen, it may just be a nice little snow we have and then it melts and it's okay. But, that ice could happen. It could be a mess. Think about your linemen and all this kind of stuff. You need to get ready just in case it is snowmageddon. I'm just saying, we need to be ready.
Scaring people.
I'm not trying to scare. I'm just saying, if you don't have to be on the roads tomorrow,
stay home. Stay home.
Go get you. Everybody's like, well, eggs are gone, bread's gone. Do the best you can. You're not going to starve. Good land. It'll melt in a few days. But anyway,
there's a can of soup in the back of your cupboard.
There you go. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. All right, but I do need to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. They have come up in my conversation so much lately because I'll talk to people. Well, I have a thing at my audio video program at Greenbrier. I have to have professionals within the industry that I talk to about the best practices for the industry. Well, Barry was a vice president of a media marketing company for nearly 17 years. And I hadn't even really thought about the fact, all my conversations I have with Barry about all the things he helps me with, he is an industry partner, because he has got that background in it, and he also uses audio video in a very big way in real estate. If you've got property you want to sell, you want to make sure it's seen in the proper light, and he's a marketer. He's going to put it out there, and it's not going to get missed, y'all. He is the broker here in Springfield. Rebecca has the office in White House. She has an agency office. They brought those two together to bring you a new branch in the Exit Tree. They were with the Garden Gate team for many years, but now they are Exit Prime Realty. They live in Cross Plains. They're Cross Plainians, and they've been there for nearly 30 years, so they specialize in Robertson County properties, but also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky, because they've been just all over with their different work, and they're also from Kentucky, just like myself. You can connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy robertsoncounty.com. Rebecca, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. If you're thinking about selling and you want to downsize, do something different, she can advise you in exactly what to expect and how to navigate those waters. Here's her number too, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. Always let them know that U-Turn sent you. And we were talking about them yesterday because they're getting ready to do the video. That you need to reach out to her and say, hey, I want to do a table, and let them know, because they've moved it to the center this year. Oh. So so they have more room, because I know I see you there a lot, and I mean, it's one of my favorite events, but they just didn't have room for everybody last year. So they're putting it in the center, and they always have the chili challenge there. But they're going to have more tables. But if you want to have a table and you want to make sure you're there, you need to reserve your spot and let them know what you're doing. And Barry will do a wonderful video like he always does. They're starting that production this week, cool. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, that's a wonderful event. Yeah. And Sean and her group, I have firsthand testimony of a young mom that they've helped, and it's just amazing the work that they do and the love that they pour into these ladies that are going through a tough time a lot of times, and are scared, don't know what to do, and they really step in there and fill a big void for them, and just do amazing work for folks in our community. And it's just the countless young mothers and children that they've helped in this community is incredible. So Sean and her group, just we love them, and we'll do anything to help them for sure. Yeah,
changing the community from the inside out. That's what's happening, and that's when you really get change, for sure. We're talking with Brian Pulley. He is with United Way. Bill Jones is our local historian, our local weatherman. He's everything. Former businessman. They had the flooring company for years and years and years. And so is this the storm you think is the one where
1974.
1974.
That was a biggie. And water pumps in Clarksville froze that time, and they couldn't get any water. You don't think of those things until it happens, you know.
Wow.
You wouldn't think a water pump freeze and no one has any water. So,
but
nowadays not everybody, a lot of people are buying generators, and they're expensive, and they're hooking it up to their house, and of course most of the farmers are on top of that too. They have their own generators now if they're milking cows and things. Not like it used to be.
Right.
Nobody had generators in 74.
This guy, he was apparently part of I think they were leasing the farm or somehow or another. They weren't the owners, but they had the cattle, and he was out there. They couldn't milk, and they had to pour milk out. Or they had somehow or another they couldn't transport it, so they'd milk it and have to just pour it out, basically. And some of the Fort Campbell flew in some generators for them because this is apparently a really big dairy at the time. And he was there. He talked to us about it. My husband was sitting there making notes, and so that's fascinating. But
I've heard of that, but here lately they don't do that because everybody's got generators, that needs them.
That needs them. But we had this when we moved to Springfield. When we moved to Robertson County, it was 1992, and we moved here in the fall. We got here in October of 92, and we hadn't been here very long, and there was an ice storm that had us down at the end of the road here without power for a couple of weeks, it felt like, and we had two one-year-olds in the house, and so we had generators, because we were a roofing company, and so we had generators. We had everything plugged in and power cords running everywhere with all these little toddlers, with these two little twin toddlers running around. That was a nice baptism by fire. I was like, oh, here we go. We're out in the country now, but we've just had a wonderful time. A little note that I was talking about Paul Rainey being on the fire department for so long, and they have to go in when it has the weather. He says they've actually come and picked him up before in the fire truck. Isn't that funny? Yeah. They have to, we can't get in, so we're going to go get Paul. He's in the fire truck. And I was saying that Jack Martin's son is working in the same area where Paul did. And Paul just told me that Jack's son, David, is actually driving the engine that Paul drove.
Is that right?
Isn't that cool? Don't you just love those connections? I just think that's great.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Appreciate y'all's service, brother.
I was a volunteer fireman for several years here in Robertson County. And you can't imagine how it's like in the wintertime. You got this big bunker suit on.
Oh, I can't.
And then if you have an air tank on top of that, you're talking about 30, 40 pounds on you. And then the water, you're in water, and they're spraying on you. You become solid ice all over. If you have a mustache, a beard, it forms on it. And it's just, you don't get out of it very quick when you're out in the field or the house. You can't go take all that stuff off. And it's an experience. It's really claustrophobic sometimes.
I bet. Oh, Lee Marie is chiming in that Dr. Weeks is saying they'll make a decision at 2 p.m. today. Okay, so that's good. I hadn't heard a single thing, Lee Marie, so thank you so much. So Coffee with a Cop is also today, and that's at 8:30 at Dunkin' Donuts, and she wants to invite you to come out to the line dancing today at the Well in the Square next to the Crossroads Bookstore at 11 a.m. And if you want to learn to dance, you go out there and get some exercise. It's $10, and she's so much fun. So go to Well in the Square and do a little dancing before the snow comes in. Get your exercise in. But Coffee with a Cop today at Dunkin' Donuts at 8:30. And again, Dr. Weeks, our director of schools, is telling us he'll make a decision at 2 p.m. today about whether or not schools will be open tomorrow.
Spoiler alert. They will not be.
I don't think so either.
We'll go ahead and call that before.
Yeah, so, I'm like that, and Bill's like, we don't want to confuse anybody because we have no say.
We have no say.
But we all have a lot of experience.
Right. I have a couple kids that we watch it like a hawk. I would be shocked if there weren't buses out when the stuff is coming in. Come on, man. It's a Friday too. Yeah. So So what that's going to mean, I don't know what that's going to do to our winter graduation. Is supposed to be tomorrow morning at 10, or not tomorrow morning. Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So I don't know if they'll just go ahead and move it to next week at the same time and make that call or not. But that will be a curiosity because we're supposed to have a big day because I've got several of the seniors I'm super close to because my homeroom is seniors. And so I've got some of them I'm just going to miss like crazy. It's going to be my last chance to see them, and they're going to do their little walkthrough and practice graduation. So it's our last chance to see them supposedly tomorrow.
So if they end up moving graduation, that means all that will move to next Friday as well, and then the graduation will be on Saturday. But again, I'm not the official word.
No.
I'm speculating.
You were speculating
as to what might happen.
We'll all find out together.
We'll all find out
yeah.
together. But hey, if you want to come in here and do, we're going to have, Bill's going to come in tomorrow with me.
Is he?
Normally, we got to talk about Jack because normally Jack would come in on
Yeah.
the second Friday, but I'm going to tell him you're not coming. You're staying home. Your son's working. So, because he has to drive him in. So I told Bill's going to come in and we're going to just talk weather.
Trooper.
You know.
Let me ask you a question on
Yeah.
United Way.
Yes, sir.
What do you all do with people in storms like this, or maybe worse than this, to help people? What do you do?
That's a fantastic question and very timely. We are meeting as soon as I leave here. There's an opportunity that we're working on, and I don't want to throw anything out there, but we will blast it out as soon as we get it finalized. So we're going to try to get some folks housed tomorrow night and Saturday night, and here locally. And so we have a plan. We are working with the city on that as well, who has stepped in on that. And so as soon as we get everything fine, I just don't want to put anything out and confuse anyone, but we are working on that because conditions are going to be really nasty. And so as soon as we get it, everything taken care of, and that will hopefully be this morning, we will blast it out through all of our channels too. And we'll work through our partner agencies who are already working with the folks that will be affected by this to let them know that resource will be available. So,
I've got a question, and it's a dumb question anyway. There's a nursing home out on South Main that's been vacant for 2 or 3 years. I always wonder, why can't you use that during these times?
Yeah.
It's got heat and electricity. It's already there.
right.
All you have to do is unlock the door.
I've seen that question
wouldn't that-
posed by other people too, and I've wondered the same thing. I drive by it all the time going over
Yeah.
to the Y, and I've wondered the same. I mean, it's been just sitting there. I guess whoever owns it would have to,
The liability. on it.
liability and all that.
Well, that's-
so
yeah, that
I'm
would
sure
be the
there's
biggie.
a lot of everything's legal these days.
yeah.
So I'm sure there's some legal reason, but I'm with you. It seems like a common sense.
Yeah,
Take off my
it
United
does.
Way hat just as
Sure
a
gives
human
some
being
relief.
and
There's
say,
plenty of rooms.
yeah, you got a lot of room, and like you said, it's already set up individual rooms and
Yeah.
bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. And it just seems like right now, I know we were on a Christian station that
Yeah.
Jesus would say, "Open the doors and let's
go."
warm these people up."
Yeah.
So, but I know there's probably legal reasons for it. Would be my guess without knowing anything about it.
The
So,
people who own it may not even be in the area.
yeah,
No, they're
It may
not.
be, yeah,
right.
yeah.
But it
So
does seem like a waste
it
to have
does
that
seem-
Still
building
paying
out there.
taxes on it, property
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
taxes.
sure.
Sure. And
I'm sure.
Lee Marie saying the Roberts County Senior Center's already said they're closed tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll say too, Epiphany Baptist Church, they do movie nights, and they have on their schedule to do a movie night on Saturday night, which is huge. It's Bonhoeffer. And if you've not seen that movie, I have not seen it, and I would really like to go, but I'm wondering if they won't postpone that and reschedule it. But Epiphany Baptist is supposed to be having a big movie night on Saturday night, and it's a good one. It's Bonhoeffer. If you haven't seen
I
it,
have not seen that.
I
So.
want
yeah,
see that. I
I'll
wanna
reach.
see it.
I'll reach out to Matt and see what he's thinking. He's a Yankee too. He'll be like, "Oh, let's just do it."
Yeah.
I feel like they'll probably do it on another night because
Right.
I can't see him having it with the weather bad. But that's coming up. So if they don't do it this Saturday night, they are set up to do it, and that's going to be a freebie that you can go see.
That's
and
really cool.
And to be able to see that movie, I think you have to be get it on not VidAngel. Is it? All right, it's one of the Christian production companies has rights to it. And you might be able to buy, but it's not a free thing you can get right now. So
They're
but they do
distributing through the
have-
churches, maybe.
yeah, they're going to stream it at church, and so
Yeah.
they've got permission to do that. And so I think that's fabulous. It'd be a great movie. It'd be a good time.
Yeah.
But I'll check with him and find out. I'll find out and let y'all know tomorrow. So, all right, guys, bundle up.
We're bundling up. We're
Bundle up.
warm. Get your bread and your milk.
Get your. If
I was
you
in
still
public-
get any,
Yeah, I was in Publix last night in Clarksville. My daughter had a gymnastics thing, and I was like, I literally did need milk, like so they could have
Yeah.
cereal this morning, and it was picked clean.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Walmart
gonna
didn't
tell
have bread and milk last night.
did they not?
you, a lot of French toast and milk, I guess. So I never understood why it's always that.
I
but-
don't either. I'm not a big milk person, but I know how to make bread, and I got flour, so
There you
I,
go.
like,
You're
I,
co-
can, I,
you're
can, I got it covered. I got it covered.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you guys so
ma'am.
much.
Good
Bob
to see
Pulley
you.
from United
Good
Way.
to see
Tell them
you.
how to get in touch with you real quick.
Yes,
on the way out.
615-780-2401, 615-780-2401. That goes right to my cell. If you need anything, if you know people that are in need during this time, please give us a call, and we'll do our best to direct them to services. As soon as we get what we're working on finalized, and hopefully that'll be first thing this morning, we will blast that out. We want to make sure folks get taken care of these next couple of days during this weather, and we need to step up as a community too. And if you can help, if you got resources, please let us know to help folks that are going to maybe be stuck out in this stuff.
Absolutely. And tune in tomorrow, because plan is I'll be here with Bill and my hubby, and yes, I'll be wearing my good old Stormy Comer winter hat. I know everybody loves that thing. But anyway, Paul's like, what are you doing in that hat?
You didn't ask for my number.
What? Okay, Bill, how do you want to tell people to get in touch with you?
VR549.
There you go. I love it. All right.
Love
it. Be safe out there, guys. Yeah. Again, if you don't have to be out on those roads, take an old traffic reporter's advice. Don't. Just don't.
Stay
you don't want to
home.
get stranded, y'all. I'm just saying, be safe out there. God bless you. 1100.
Sinners must surrender.